Hi, thanks for joining me today. I'm Amanda, founder of Inspiring Inkin, and in today's video we're going to be making this birthday card which uses a technique of putting re-inkers onto a baby wipe to give a multicoloured ink pad. So let's get started. I'm going to start out by making all the additional components so that they're ready to go so we can assemble the card quickly once we've done the baby wipe technique as well. So I have a happy birthday sentiment on the card, and I'm using teeny tiny sentiments. If you need a sentiment set, it's fabulous. It's got loads and loads of different sentiments in it, and it matches this punch perfectly. So I am going to stamp that down. So I've got some real red cardstock, and this is elegant eggplant, and I'm going to punch this out, and you'll be able to see that the punch has points going outwards. Now the fabulous thing about this punch is it looks brilliant like this. I quite often put rhinestones or pearls on those edges, but you can feed the sentiment back into the punch and make yourself a little flag end, which is what I've done there. And this point piece will be underneath. So that's all the stamping I'm going to do with that ink pad. I am going to punch a 1.5 inch circle out of elegant eggplant, and this piece is actually going to be the layer underneath here. Being frugal with your cardstock is a great idea. It makes our cardstock go a bit further, but nobody's ever going to see that you've taken a punch out of that, and in actual fact you could get 3 out of there. There we go. So you've got some spare for later. So that's those pieces, and then I've pre-done this one. This is Softly Falling, so it's an embossing folder. It's the 1.25 inch punch, and I've just embossed it just at the more heavy dotted area to just give it a little bit of dimension. So those are the 3 elements to go on the front, apart from the butterfly, but we need the baby wipes to do that. So you're going to need a plate. It needs to be something that's flat, so you can use a silicone mat if you've got something like that, but this plate's lovely and flat. You're going to need a baby wipe. Now, baby wipes, don't use them on your stamps. They're not good for your stamps. They're brilliant for cleaning up your hands and tables and things, and they're fantastic for this technique. But a lot of them have alcohol or aloe vera or fragrance in them, and it's just not good for your rubber stamps to have those things on them. So doesn't matter what kind of baby wipe you have, because we're going to clean our stamps afterwards. So what I'm going to do is just fold it into 4 and just make sure that your stamp will fit on it, which it will. This is the Playful Background stamp set. Love this stamp set. You're going to see me using a lot of this. And then I have some re-inkers. Now, whenever anybody purchases from me an ink pad, so like this elegant ink pad, I always suggest that they buy a re-inker at that point. It then means that you're not going to be in the middle of a project and your ink pad's got a bit dry, and then you've got to order it and wait for it to arrive. It's better to order the 2 at the same time. And actually, if you want to be really ahead of the game, order the cardstock and the ink pad and the re-inker, and then you've got everything that coordinates together. that's the thing that I love most about Stampin' Up. It makes colour coordination easy, and if you've got all three things, then you can't go wrong. So for this card, I've already mentioned Elegant Eggplant and Rose Red. So I've got those two re-inkers there, but I've also got two paler ones as well. If you use too dark a tone of colour, it will get muddy quite quickly. So using paler colours really helps balance it. So I have Pink Pirouette and Wisteria Wonder. So I'm going to start out with my main colours, and all I'm going to do is drop them onto the wet wipe, and I drop them from sort of a couple of inches up, basically because then they spread a bit more. I'm only going to put five drops of Elegant Eggplant on because it is so dark. A few drops of Wisteria Wonder. Now don't worry if the spots start blending in with one another, that's actually kind of what we want. And then I'm going to fill in the dots with Pink Pirouette. So it's just going to take a bit of time, and you can probably see I'm going to get a bit lower down now. And what this does is it just means that I can make sure I've got all the wet wipe covered over. Now you will see I'm using a reasonable amount of ink, but you'll see that this little ink pad that we're making will make probably 4 or 5 cards. So let me move those out of the way. So when you're stamping with this, obviously there's no give in the wet wipe, and I'm using a photopolymer stamp, so just be gentle with it when you're inking it up, and don't move it around. So as you're inking it up, don't move the block around on the ink pad, because then you'll end up with muddy colours. So just press it down a couple of times, and then stamp it down. And stamp it down and hold it down well. And then I'm going to lift it up. Isn't that fab? This is one of my absolute favourite techniques. And I love doing this with my customers because it's just one of those techniques that you just see their eyes light up. So I'm going to ask, I do ask sometimes, but I'm going to ask you, if you make anything using this technique, will you send me a picture? I would love to see what you make. So my email address, I'll put it at the bottom of the screen as well, is amanda@inspiringinkin.com. Or if you leave me a message, I can send you a message back and we can do it that way. But I would love to see what you make because it's just fab. Everybody ought to do this. So I'm just going to put a couple more on and that's it. How fab is that? So now I've done that card front, what I do want to do is do the butterfly for the front of the card. And the reason I do it at this point is as you go on with your stamping, the colours will get paler because obviously you're using up the ink. So I want to make sure that I've got a butterfly that is the same depth of colour as this one. So I just stamped one but it's really pale. That's so much better. So I'm going to stamp that one and punch it out. So that's going to go with that one. And then I'm just going to do one more just to show you. And the colours each time will just become that little bit more muted. So I'm hoping you'll be able to see the colours look a little bit more muted. And then what I'll do is I'll just do a butterfly for that one as well. Oh, wrong punch. Too many punches on the table. So that's that one. Okay. Now I always stamp the inside of my card. So I will just do that. I'll use that piece again. And move that out of the way. So all I've got to do now is assemble it. So let's get my Tombow out. Card blank. This is my standard size card blank. It's 4 inches by 5 3/4. So this layer is 3 3/4 by 5 1/2. So that's the inside. And I've got my Holy matte layer. So that's going to go on there. Like that. And as I said, once you've stamped it, well, sorry, once you've stamped it, once you've layered it, nobody's going to see. So that layer is going on there. And then I've got my elements that I did earlier. So I'm going to put my spotty rose red circle on. And my happy birthday. Then I'm going to put the circles on the top of that. And then I've got some rhinestones, 3 rhinestones on my butterfly. And then I'm just going to pop that down. And there we go. All completed. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed learning about the baby wipe technique. Do send me pictures of your creations. I'd love to see them. My email address is amanda@inspiringinkin.com. For more creative inspiration to purchase any of the products that you've seen today, please pop over to my blog, www.inspiringinkin.com. I hope to see you again soon. Goodbye.